First off, I just want to go ahead and welcome and congratulate you on becoming a potential candidate for our client sponsorship program. My name is Josh Pfeiffer, and I am one of the founders for Sora Veymont. Now, before going into the program, I like to always give some background on how our company actually started and what the model actually looks like too. Initially, we started off as a small company that partnered with brokers and lenders to help high net worth individuals and businesses pay down and consolidate their high interest rate debt. We found that a lot of brokers and lenders had people that also needed some type of business or personal funding, but their main pain point was the debt to income ratio that their clients had. Now, over the years of being in the finance and real estate industry, we were able to build a large cash pool. That cash pool consists of individuals with cash lying around, small private equity firms, and an assortment of private lenders, which in turn became our sponsors. So we created a solution in which we were able to leverage that large cash pool or our sponsors by helping our brokers and lenders pay down their clients' debt. Once their debt was paid down, then the client could go through funding. We ended up resolving a pain point for our brokers, and because of that, we were able to help them bring in more business, which in turn brought us more business. Now, the model looks like this. We have our brokers and lenders bring us leads with clients that have a debt to income ratio above 30%. Once we know how much debt that client has, we are then able to leverage our cash pool or our sponsors to help pay down that debt. Once the debt is paid down, the client can get funding. And then because we help them with that funding and help pay down their debt, we take a fee based on the total amount of funding that they received. That fee is then split up between Sora Veymont and our sponsors. The sponsors receive the original amount plus the return, and then the remainder goes to Sora Veymont. That is what the model looks like in its rawest and simplest form. And now we're going to go a little bit more in depth into the program itself and a little bit more detail into how the program works. So the first slide here just goes over the background of the program. The client sponsorship program allows for individuals and businesses to refinance their high interest rate debt, and then the clients gain access to funding at more affordable rates. They're then able to leverage that funding or credit equity into things that they need either in their business or back into our sponsorship program. This is the core of the business itself and what we actually do. How it works. We have an extensive network of unsecured brokers all across the United States, and our brokers bring us clients that have a solid payment history with a debt to income ratio above that 30%. We are here to provide a solution for those clients. We are not selling anything to them. We are here literally just to provide a solution for our brokers and lenders and their clients. The process as a whole looks like this. Our brokers will conditionally pre-approve clients as if their debt to income ratio was paid down below that 30%. From there, we can see the conditional pre-approval and the current debt that needs to be paid down. We're then able to reach out to our sponsors who then satisfy the client's current debt, reducing their DTI below that 30%. Once the updated DTI is reflected by the credit bureaus, the brokers apply for low interest rate credit on the client's behalf. From there, the credit is approved, and then we're actually able to charge that consulting fee. Now, the expected returns back from that would be 20 to 32%, and the entire process takes about 26 weeks or less. And that would be the original amount plus the return back to the sponsor. Some important concepts to think about when it comes to Sora Veymont. We are not lenders or investors. We work with lenders, we partner with lenders, but we are not the ones doing the lending ourselves. Investors, we are not investors. We are not governed by the SEC. We are not crypto. We are not real estate. And then we are not working within the stock exchange. We are working within credit, which means we are not volatile. We have replicatable processes that we do every single time. So we are not investors, and our sponsors are considered sponsors. This is a sponsorship opportunity. So there is no word when it comes to investment whatsoever within this opportunity. Sora Veymont is literally here just to facilitate, oversee, and ensure the completion of the whole process. We are here basically as money movers. We move money from our sponsors through us to our lenders, and then move that fee back through us, back to our sponsors, and then the remainder comes to us. Sponsorship capital is also guaranteed, which we'll talk about in a few minutes here. And then the sponsor is paid a return on sponsorship, or ROS. Now we're going to go ahead and go over a file here, and this is what we actually receive from our brokers and lenders themselves. And then this is something that we can actually go ahead and figure out what debt needs to be paid down and how much we actually need to pay. So line one is the funding pre-approval amount, which is $875,280. This is the amount that the brokers and lenders say, if you can pay down a specific amount of debt, this will be the funding amount we can give you. Line two would be the trade line sponsor dollar amount, which is the debt that needs to be paid down or satisfied, which would be $268,392.46. Line three is the gross funding total or the consulting fee that we're charging, which is 8.58%. Line four is the gross funding total in dollar amount form, which would be $75,099.02. So 8.58% of $875,280 is $75,099.02. And then line 4 and 2 equal line 5, which is the ROS or the return on sponsorship that would be going back to the client. Now, this is actually one file. So each file takes anywhere from 2 to 3 months. So we just talked about 26 weeks or 6 months. So what we are actually doing is compounding money within these files. We're able to recycle the funds from this specific file into another file within that 26-week period of time or 6 months. So we're actually able to fill 2 to 3 files within a 6-month period of time, which in turn is able to guarantee and get those 20 to 32% rates for our clients. Now, we do have a distribution timeline based on certain amounts that are coming back to you, and that's just for our protection and yours, just to make sure we don't have large amounts of cash flowing in and out of bank accounts. So anything up to $25,000 would be a biweekly payout on a 2-week schedule. Anything 25 to $500,000 would be biweekly payouts on a 6-week schedule. $500,000 to $1 million would be weekly payouts on an 8-week schedule. $1 million to $5 million would be biweekly payouts on a 12-week schedule. And then $5 million to $10 million would be biweekly payouts on a 16-week schedule. So an example of this will be a $1 million sponsorship with a 22% return on sponsorship. That would equal 8 weekly payments of $152,500. We are going to look at one more file example, and that's just to make sure that you guys fully understand how these files work. So line 1, again, is that funding pre-approval amount. So the amount that the lender actually pre-approved the client. Line 2 is the debt that needs to be paid down. Line 3 is the consultation fee that we are charging. Line 4 is the gross funding total or the amount out of that consultation fee based on the funding pre-approval amount. And then line 5 is the ROS or return on sponsorship that is going back into another file within that 26-week period or 6-month time. So how is Sora Veymont Capital compensated? We are compensated based on performance basis only. Because we are in a relationship business where we have our sponsors and our brokers and lenders, we are always trying to find the perfect balance between those. If we didn't have our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to fill files. And if we didn't have our files, we wouldn't be able to put sponsors' money in those files. So we have to make sure that we're at a perfect balance at all times and make sure that both sides are always happy, which, like I said, there has to be a perfect balance between those. So we're always here to make sure that both sides are happy and that we can perform on both sides also. So there are no upfront fees to get into this program, but there are minimums, which we'll talk about in a second. The sponsor's original amount plus return on sponsorship is paid first before we get paid. And again, the reason why we do that is because we're in a relationship business. We want to make sure our sponsors are taken care of first and our brokers and lenders are taken care of first before we worry about ourselves. So I'm going back into what I said. Once a client file is fully matured and the expected 20 to 32% rate of return has been satisfied by the sponsor, Sora Veymont Capital will retain any additional earned portion of the consultation fee agreed up by the client. If Sora Veymont Capital does not perform above or beyond stated performance range, we do not get paid. So we always want to make sure that we're, again, keeping that perfect balance so that way we perform and we get paid and we can continue to run as a company. So how do you get started? So first off, if it was me or Alec that actually reached out to you, you would just go ahead and let us know. If it was one of our other partners, go ahead and let them know. Our minimum sponsorship amount is $10K. and the average term of sponsor is 26 weeks or less. The average return on sponsorship is 20 to 32%. And then that's how you would actually get started within our program. If you do have any questions, there will be a Calendly link that's sent out to you. Feel free to book with Alec or I. We'll answer any further questions that you may have. But I want to go ahead and just thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this and review our opportunity. Please let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.